My dear brothers and sisters, Tawbah is the first door you must knock on before Ramadan begins. It is not just a word you say with your tongue. It is a movement of the heart toward Allah. One day before Ramadan is not a day for panic. It is a day for honesty. Sit quietly and look at your year. Look at the prayers you delayed, the promises you broke, the sins you broke, the sins you repeated, the moments you chose dunya over your Lord. Do not run from that reality. Face it gently. Allah already knows Tawbah begins when you stop making excuses and start taking responsibility. It is when the heart whispers, Ya Allah, I was wrong. This whisper is beloved to Him. Ramadan is not meant to decorate an unchanged heart. It is meant to transform it. And transform it begins with sincere repentance, with humility, and with the courage to return before the month of mercy arrives. Sincere repentance is not about drowning in guilt. Shaitan wants you to feel hopeless, to believe you are too far gone, too sinful, too inconsistent. But Allah calls Himself Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. His mercy is greater than your past. When you make Tawbah, you are not informing Allah of your sin. You are aligning your heart with truth. You regret what you did. You stop the sin. You make a firm intention not to return. And if it involved someone else, you correct it. This is strength, not weakness, but this strength, not weakness. Many people enter Ramadan focusing people enter Ramadan focusing on meal plans and prayer schedules, yet they forget to clean the heart. A heart filled with pride, resentment, or hidden sin cannot taste the sweetness of fasting. Tawbah washes the rust away so that when Ramadan begins, your soul is ready to receive light. The beauty of Tawbah is that it does not require a special place or a special audience. You do not need a stage or a crowd. You need sincerity. It can happen in your room, in the darkness of the night, with tears no one else sees. Raise your hands and speak honestly. Tell Allah what you are ashamed of. Tell Him what you are ashamed of. Tell Him what you keep struggling with. Do not use fancy words. Speak from your brokenness. The Prophet Subhamna taught that Allah stretches out His hand at night to accept the repentance of the one who sinned during the day. This means the door is still open. One day before Ramadan, imagine walking into the month carrying heavy bags of regret. Now imagine putting them down before you enter. Tawbah is that release, that freedom from carrying what Allah is willing to forgive. Repentance also requires action. If you have wronged someone, seek forgiveness. If you owe someone, repay them. If you owe someone, repay them. If you have been distant from prayer, return to it immediately. Do not say you will fix everything when Ramadan starts. Start now. Show Allah that you are serious. Even small changes matter. Delete what pulls you towards sin. End conversations that damage your soul. Remove habits that distance you from your Lord. Remove habits that distance you from your Lord. Tawbah is not a feeling alone. It is a decision. It is turning your back on disobedience and turning your face toward Allah. And every step you take toward Him, He comes closer to you. Ramadan is a gift, but it should not be the first time you bow sincerely in months. Prepare your heart by proving that your repentance is real and your intention is real and your intention is firm. When you make sincere Tawbah before Ramadan, you enter the month lighter. You enter with hope instead of shame. You enter with hope instead of shame. You stand in Taraweeh not as someone hiding from their Lord, but as someone returning to Him. This changes everything. Your dua becomes deeper. Your Quran becomes deeper. Your Quran recitation becomes more meaningful. Your fasting becomes more conscious. Because you are no longer performing worship to look good. You are worshiping to stay close. Never underestimate the power of one sincere moment of repentance. It can rewrite your story. It can change your destiny. Allah, are you punishing me? Allah loves those who constantly return to Him even if they fall again. So do not delay. Do not overthink one day before Ramadan is enough to begin. Again, with a heart that trembles, hopes, regrets, and longs to be forgets and longs to be forgiven. Tawakkul is placing your entire weight upon Allah while still walking forward with effort. It is not laziness and it is not escape. It is the deep certainty that after you have done what you can, the outcome belongs to Him alone. One day before Ramadan, your heart may be for Ramadan, your heart may be full of worries. You may be thinking about your weakness, your inconsistency, your responsibilities, your future. Tawakkul begins when you admit that you are not in control of everything. You plan your schedule. You set your goals for Quran and prayer. But then you release the results to Allah. You say, Ya Allah, I will try, but I trust you with what I cannot manage. This trust removes anxiety from worship. It allows you to enter Ramadan not stressed about perfection, but confident that Allah sees your effort and rewards your sincerity. Complete trust in Allah grows when you remember who He is. He is Al-Wakil, the best disposer of affairs. He is Al-Wakil, the best disposer of affairs. He is Al-Hakim, the most wise. He knows what you do not know. Sometimes you fear that you will fail again this Ramadan. Sometimes you fear that you will fail again this Ramadan. Sometimes you fear that your dua will not be answered. Tawakkul means believing that even unanswered prayers are part of a wiser plan. You fast and you may not immediately feel spiritual highs. You pray and you may still struggle with distraction. But you trust that Allah is working in your heart in ways you cannot see. Just as seeds grow beneath the soil, before breaking through the surface, your efforts in Ramadan are growing roots. Tawakkul is believing in unseen growth. It is knowing that Allah's timing is always precise, even when it feels delayed. Even when it feels delayed. Ramadan teaches tawakkul through hunger and thirst. When you refrain from food and water, you are reminded how dependent you are. Every sip you usually take without thinking is a gift from Allah. Every breath is a mercy. Fasting humbles you. It shows you that your strength is limited, but His support is limitless. During long days, when your energy feels low, you whisper, Hasbi Allah, Allah is sufficient for me. That statement is not weakness, it is power. You are declaring that your provision, your success, your guidance, all come from Him. Tawakkul means you stop relying only on your willpower and start relying on divine help. You still strive for excellence in worship, but you stop strive for excellence in worship. But you know that without Allah's support, even your best plans would collapse. Trust in Allah also means trusting Him during personal struggles. Perhaps you are entering Ramadan with financial stress, family tension, or emotional pain. Tawakkul does not mean those problems disappear overnight. It means you carry them differently. Instead of drowning in fear, you place your worries before Allah in sujood. You say, Ya Allah, you see what I am facing. I leave it in your hands. This surrender creates inner peace. This surrender creates inner peace. When you truly trust Allah, your heart becomes steady, even if your circumstances are not. Ramadan becomes a training ground for this reliance. Every time you break your fast, you remember that Allah sustained you through the day. Every night you wake for prayer, you remember that He woke you. These small reminders strengthen your certainty that you are never alone. Satab of the man with tawakkul means entering the month without fear of failure. You may stumble, you may miss a voluntary prayer, you may miss a voluntary prayer. You may have moments of weakness, but instead of giving up, you trust that Allah values consistency over perfection. You trust that Allah values consistency over perfection. You trust that every sincere effort is recorded. You trust that your tears are seen. You trust that your private dua is heard. Tawakkul removes despair and replaces it with hope. It teaches you that success is not measured by how flawless your Ramadan looks to others, but by how sincerely you rely on Allah. Place your intentions in His care. Place your weaknesses in His mercy. Place your future in His wisdom. And walk into Ramadan with a heart that is calm, surrendered, and confident in the one who controls all affairs. Sabr is the quiet strength that carries a believer through what feels unbearable. It is not passive suffering and it is not silent defeat. It is controlled endurance with faith in Allah. One day before Ramadan, remind yourself that this month is a school of patience. You will feel hunger. You will feel thirst. You will feel irritation when routines change. But sabr is choosing calm over complaint. It is holding calm when anger rises. It is lowering your tongue when anger rises. It is lowering your gaze when temptation appears. Fasting is not just from food, it is from reaction. Ramadan teaches you that you are stronger than your impulses. When you restrain yourself for the sake of Allah, you are training your soul to obey revelation over desire. This discipline shapes your character. It refines your heart. It transforms ordinary days into acts of worship filled with quiet perseverance. Patience in Ramadan begins internally. Before you control your speech, you must control your thoughts. Negative thinking, jealousy, comparison, and resentment can spoil the spirit of fasting even if your stomach is empty. Sabr means guarding the heart from these poisons. When you see others doing better in worship, do not feel discouraged. When you feel spiritually low, do not give up. Patience is continuing even when motivation fades. It is showing up for prayer when you are tired. It is reading Quran even when your mind feels distracted. The value of sabr is often hidden because it is unseen. No one may notice your struggle to stay calm. No one may see your effort to forgive. But Allah sees, and every internal battle fought for His sake is recorded as strength of faith. Ramadan exposes your weaknesses so that you can strengthen them. When hunger makes you irritable, sabr teaches you gentleness. When hunger makes you irritable, sabr teaches you gentleness. Tawbah teaches you gentleness. When fatigue makes you lazy, sabr teaches you consistency. When someone provokes you, sabr reminds you of the Prophet's teaching to say, I am fasting. That statement is powerful. It is a reminder to yourself before anyone else. You are not reacting because you are weak. You are restraining because you are restraining, because you are revolted. Self-control is dignity. It is refusing to let your emotions control your behavior. During Ramadan, your soul learns to pause before speaking, to think before acting, to breathe before responding. This pause is the space where spiritual growth happens. Sabr builds that space. It turns moments of potential sign into moments of reward. True patience is not only in avoiding wrong, but in remaining firm in obedience. Standing in long Taraweeh prayers requires sabr. Waking up for suhoor when you want to sleep requires sabr. Giving charity when you are worried about your own finances requires sabr. Giving charity when you are worried about your own finances requires sabr. There will be nights when you feel spiritual closeness and nights when you feel nothing. Sabr means you feel nothing. Sabr means you continue regardless of feeling. Your worship is not based on emotion. It is based on commitment. The believer understands that spiritual growth is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet and gradual. Like a seed pushing through soil, it takes time and pressure. Ramadan applies that pressure gently, teaching you endurance. And with every act of patience, your relationship with Allah deepens. Your relationship with Allah deepens. Sabr also prepares you for life beyond Ramadan. The patience you practice in these 30 days is meant to carry into the rest of the year. When trials come after Ramadan ends, you remember that you have endured hunger and thirst for Allah. You have controlled your anger for His sake. You have restrained your desires for His pleasure. That strength does not disappear. It remains within you. Patience is a shield against despair. It is a light during difficulty. It reminds you that hardship is temporary and reward is eternal. Eve, why are you punishing me? Every moment you choose self-control over impulse is a victory. Every time you remain steady in obedience, you are building resilience in faith. Ramadan teaches you that sabrad is not weakness, it is spiritual power rooted in trust and devotion. One nob He is not, and devotion. And devotion, one nob, is the deep longing of the heart to be near Allah, to feel His presence, to live with awareness that He sees you and hears you. One day before Ramadan, ask yourself not how much you will do, but how close you truly want to be. See to Allah is not measured by public acts, it is measured by sincerity. Ramadan is an invitation to intimacy. Ramadan is an invitation to intimacy, not performance. When you stand in prayer, you are not reciting empty words, you are speaking to your Creator. When you raise your hands in dua, you are not whispering into silence, you are calling upon the one who responds. Cure begins when worship stops being routine and becomes relationship, stops being routine and becomes relationship. It is when your heart is present in sujud. It is when your tears fall not from fear alone. but from love and longing to remain under His mercy. Closeness to Allah grows in stillness. Ramadan gives you moments that other months do not. The quiet of suhoor before dawn, the calm after breaking your fast, the late nights of prayer when the world is asleep. These are sacred openings. Sit with your Lord, speak honestly, tell Him what burdens you, tell Him what confuses you, tell Him what confuses you, tell Him what you are grateful for. Worship is not only recitation and movement, it is conversation and awareness. When you read Quran, imagine that Allah is addressing you personally. Reflect on His names and attributes. Al-Ghafur forgives you. Ar-Razak provides for you. Ar-Razak provides for you. Al-Latif cares for you in subtle ways you do not notice. The more you reflect, the closer you feel. Qurb is built on remembrance, on decor that keeps your heart awake throughout the day. Ramadan teaches that fasting itself brings nearness. When you leave something halal for the sake of Allah, you prove that He matters more to you than desire. That sacrifice draws you closer. Every hunger pang becomes a reminder of your dependence on Him. Every thirst reminds you of the blessings you often overlook. Worship in Ramadan is layered. Your fasting is worship. Your patience is worship. Your kindness is worship. Your kindness is worship. Your silent struggle to avoid sin is worship. This awareness transforms your day. You begin to see that Allah is not distant. He is near when you are at work, controlling your temper. He is near when you lower your gaze. He is near when you choose forgiveness over revenge. Qurb is living with consciousness that every moment can connect you to Him. Closeness to Allah also requires removing what creates distance. Shin darkens the heart. Distraction weakens focus. Distraction weakens focus. One day before Ramadan, begin cleaning the space inside you. Reduce what pulls you away from remembrance. Limit what numbs your soul. Replace idle time with dhikr. Replace harmful speech with praise. Harmful speech with praise. Replace resentment with du'ata for others. Qurb is not only about increasing acts of worship, it is about decreasing the acts of worship. It is about decreasing what blocks light. When you guard your tongue, your heart becomes softer. When you control your gaze, your thoughts become purer. When you forgive, your chest becomes lighter. These changes may seem small, but they create room for Allah's presence. Ramadan magnifies what you feed. If you feed your soul with remembrance, it will grow in closeness and awareness. As you prepare for Ramadan, make one sincere intention to know Allah better. Not just to complete a number of prayers or pages of Quran, but to deepen your connection. Seek moments of khushu in Salah. Pause between verses and reflect. Prolong your sujood and speak from your heart. Prolong your sujood and speak from your heart. Send abundant salawat upon the Prophet, salawat upon the Prophet and feel gratitude for guidance. Give charity quietly and feel the sweetness of serving for Allah alone. Qurb changes how you experience Ramadan. It turns obligation into love. It turns routine into devotion. When you taste closeness, worship no longer feels heavy. It becomes your refuge. The world may remain busy and demanding, but inside you there is calm because you are anchored to the one who is always near, always listening, always responding to the servant who turns to Him with sincerity.